So good morning everyone, let's continue our discussion. So today we'll talk about operators. We'll continue our discussion on operators. So we'll start with logical operator first, okay, and or, and then we'll talk about how do we handle some sort of nulls by using if, null or if, okay, and then we'll talk about between operator, and then we'll talk about like, and in like we'll talk about percentage and underscore, and we'll also talk about how do you escape some special character. Okay, so this would be our agenda. Let's move on with our logical operator first. So I'll share my screen. Okay, so let's start with logical operators. Okay, now logical operators are operators which can be used along with where condition when you want to specify, some condition and you want to get some value out of this condition. For example, so if you want to define more than one condition in the where, like you know that whenever you want to retrieve the data from the database, we'll have to, and if you want to filter the data, we use where condition, right? But with where condition, it is possible that you may be interested to work with multiple conditions, right? So if you want to work with more conditions, then you should use logical operator. Okay, we can use logical operator to combine multiple conditions. And what are those keywords that you would be using? You'll use and, or. Okay, so these are the two operators that you will use to combine your conditions. Okay, now let's understand that with example. And operator, this and operator displays the record if both the condition is true. Or operator displays the record if any of the condition is true. Sometimes you may have a requirement like if both the condition matches, then only give me the output. In that case, you'll use and. Okay. Sometimes you may have a condition if any of the condition matches, then return me that record. Then in that case, you'll use or. Okay. Let's see by example. So if I say list all the employees who are clerk and earns more than 1,000. So that means I want to get the list of all the employees who are actually clerk and who also makes more than 1,000 salary. Right? In this case, you will use what and condition. Okay. So let's try this. This is your requirement, right? So based on the requirement, you should be writing your code. So let's say paste. When you say select start from employee, this is the status of your employee table. This is the status of your employee table. What you want to get now? You want to get the detail of all the employee, okay, who are clerk and who earns more than 1,000 salary. So your code would become like this. You'll say select star from employee where job is equal to, right? You say clerk, C-L-E-R-K, clerk, right? Check the spelling very carefully, clerk. And now there is a condition called and, right? Because you are saying just having a clerk is not enough. So when I just select start from employee where job is equal to clerk, if I just select this and if I run this query, then I get the list of all the clerk. But that's not my requirement. My requirement is to get the list of all the clerk who are also making more than 1,000 salary, right? So which means I'm not interested to get this guy 800 and 950, right? I should get only two records, and those are those employees who are earning 1,100 and 1,300. Now my condition would be and my salary, right? And my salary is greater than 1,000. Okay. When you say more than 1,000, if you say even if somebody is getting 1,000, I want to consider that, then you should say equal to, greater than equal to. Okay. So let's run this. Now you got the list of all the people who are making more than or equal to 1,000 as salary, right? So let's go back. So that would be a condition. Okay, who earns more than or equal to or equal to, or you can say who earns at least, right? At least 1,000. If you say who earns at least 1,000 salary, that means minimum 1000, maximum can be anything, right? So your query would be this. Okay. Now, if I say now my requirement is get me the list of all the employees who are either clerk, that should be fine, or at least making more than 3000. Okay, which means I am interested to fetch the detail of all the employees who are actually clerk, or if they are not clerk, then this would be making more than 3000 salary. So in that case, you'll use what or, right? Because this or would be used, and this or would return you the record if this condition is true or this condition is true, right? So let's go back. Now your condition is, let's say select star from employee. Okay, now see here we have a lot of people. All right, and now let me first write a query like this: select star from employee where uh, salary is greater than 3000. Let's see how many people we get. I got only president, right? I got only president who is making more than 3000, right? Let me also put equal to see if we get any more record. Okay, there are two more people who are actually getting more than 3000. Okay, now so now the question is, I want to get the list of all the employees who are clerk, or maybe or earns more than 3000, whatever. Okay, now in that case you would say, okay, let me say select start from employee where salary is greater than equal to 3000. I see I got three people, right? Or I would like to invite the clerk also. Now the condition would be or, right? Your job, the job is equal to clerk, right? Your condition would become this. Now if you see, either you have got all the clerk, okay, or you have got those people who are making more than 3000. It's something like this. Let's say I'm an insurance agent, and I would like to target a few set of customers, right? Now my requirement could be either I would target all the people who are making more than 3000 because they have the capacity to buy the insurance, or I would say if the designation is, let's say, engineer, then I would like to sell this insurance to them, right? Now my query would become something like this. Okay, so whether you write it here, whether you write it here does not matter, right? So it will give you the same output. So let's go back. So let's start from employee where job is clerk or salary is greater than equal to 3000. Okay, now you can also use or, let me write it like this, you can also use or to write query on multiple conditions on same column. So I would like to say cut this and paste it here, because that's the point of this particular command. You can also use or to write query on multiple conditions on same column. What do you mean by that? Let's see. Now my requirement could be, I want to get the list of all the employees who are either clerk or analyst, right? Who are either clerk or analyst. So you can do something like this. Check it out, right? So let's go back. Now you were searching for what? Clerk, right? Where job is equal to clerk. I got this. Now probably you also want to see those people who are also, who are, let's say, analyst, right? Now you can put a condition here, or job is equal to analyst. Okay, assuming spelling is all good, so you'll get it like this. You can also use double quote here, and this should still give you the same output, right? So this can be your query. You want to get either clerk or the analyst, right? So you can actually use this technique. I'll just replace this here just to tell you that you can use single quote or double quote, and this would work as usual. Okay, You can use single quote or double quote, whatever. Okay. Now, what will happen? I want to ask you a question now here. What will happen if I replace this with and? How many record would be returned back? Let's see how many of you can answer this correctly. If I write here and, what will happen in this case? What is your expectation? If I write and, then how many records are you expecting to return here? So let's run this code, okay? So let's see this. Now see, you will get 0 records. Why? Because there is no employee whose job is clerk as well as analyst, right? Getting me? There is no employee whose job is clerk as well as analyst. It's only one. Your column can have only one value, is not it? Your column can have only one value. So either it is clerk or analyst or anything else, but not both, right? Somebody is not clerk as well as analyst. So you will get 0 records out of this. Okay. So I would like to paste it here. I'll say what is the output of the below code. Right? And uh, I would say no result, as we don't have any employee whose job is both clerk and analyst, right? So no result. You should not expect any result out of this query, right? All right. Now list all the employee who belongs to department number 10 or 20. So let's go back and say select star from employee. Okay, let's check the department number. Now department number, if you see, I can see 10, 20, 30. That's it, right? Now I want to get the list of all the employees whose department number is 10 or department number is 20, right? So I can write a query like this, where department number is equal to 10 or department number is equal to 20. If you want to get the list of all the employees whose department number is either 10 or 20, you will write a query like this. And you get the list of all the people whose department number is 10 or 20. Okay, so this is how you can use AND condition and OR, right? OR can also be used to query on the same column as we have discussed here. You can use OR to write query on multiple conditions on same columns here. Multiple conditions but on the same column, job, right? So likewise. Now let's talk about special operators, okay? So special operators are like in and not in, between, not between, is null, is not null, like, not like. They are called as your special operators. Okay. Now let us try to understand this step by step. Okay. Now in, it is used to specify the list of values that you wish to pick from. Instead of using multiple or operator to specify multiple value, use in and provide all the value in range. What do you mean by that? Now see here, in the previous example, whenever you wanted to get the list of all the employees whose department number was 10 is 10, or the department number is 20, or the department number is 30, then instead of writing multiple conditions like this, why don't you write in and pass all the values, right? So which means you can do something like this. This will give you the list of all the people whose department number is either 10 or 20, or you can write something like this, select star from employee where department number in, and then within the bracket you provide the list of the values. Okay, what are the values? 10, 20, right? So that means give me the list of all the employee whose department number comes within this list. It's not the range, it's not 10 to 20. Okay, it's the list of all the values. Okay, so you can specify the list of all the values, and if the department number matches 10, 20, that would be returned back. Okay, so let's run this code, and it should give you the same output. Right now, if I just say 30, right, that means I have given only one value. So you'll get the list of all the employees whose department number is 30. Right? If I say 10 and 30, then I'll get the list of all the people whose department number is 10 and 30 only. 10 and 30, no 20s. Right? And if I say 20 and 30, then it will give you the list of all the employee whose department number is either 20 or 30. Okay? So which means whether you write a code like this or whether you write a code like this, both are same. Okay? Likewise, list all employees whose name is either Scott or Adams. Okay? So let me go back. Let me say select start from employee. Let me see how many Scott are there. Only one. And Adam, there is only one Adam. Okay. Now my question is, I want to get the list of all the employees whose name is either Adams or Scott. Okay. So your query would become like this: select star from employee, where what is the column name? E name in, right? And you will say Adam, ADAMS, Adams, and you pass a second value, that is Scott. This would be a query, right? So you got the list of all the employees whose name is either Scott or Adams. Okay. Likewise, you can specify more values. So in is basically an operator wherein you can pass multiple values, and whenever this name matches that value, it gives you back that result. Okay. Now, while working with subqueries, if subquery returns multiple value, then we must use in to catch all those values. Let's see that example. Okay. Although we have not studied subqueries right now, we'll talk about subqueries in the coming days, but I just wanted to show you subqueries and in. Okay. Now see here. If I say I also have got a department table, right? So let me say let me check the department table. Okay. I would say select star from department. Select star from department. Then 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. Now, if I write a query like this, give me only department number from department. Okay. Now, my query would be select, give me only department number from department. Then I'll get what? I'll get only one column, that is 10, 20, 30, 40. The first column, right? So let's run this query. Then 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay. Now, if I write a query like this, select star from employee, where department number in, and if I put this query here, then this is called as your subquery, right? So see, this is your inner query. And if you see this example, here you have written two queries. So one is your outer query and the other one is your inner query. Now, whenever you see any query like this, you first have to evaluate your inner query first. So, if you see this inner query, this is your inner query, right? Now, the advantage of working with this kind of dviewer is it actually helps you to write the query and execute them in parts. For example, if I want to execute only this, then you just say run and you get to see what is the value you got. You got 10, 20, 30, 40, right? Now, which means you can actually expand this query. What you do is write this query again. Okay, so you copy paste your query again. Just a minute. Copy this. Paste. You write this query again and see. Select department number from department has given you 10, 20, 30, 40, right? What you do is you can actually now remove this and just replace this with 10, 20, 30, 40, just for your understanding. Of course, it will compile. Okay, but what I'm saying is to understand it better, you can actually say, okay, let me run this first table, inner table. Okay. So first you execute your inner query, right? See what the output you get, and for your understanding, replace it here, right? That will help you to simplify your query, and at one time you start understanding it so well that you don't even have to extract this, right? So your query would become like this, even if you write it like this, right? So if you see my department number, if you see my inner query is returning me multiple results. My inner query is returning me multiple rows. So if it is returning you multiple rows, then you need to use in your outer query to cache those values, right? So this is how your code would look like. This is how your code would look like. So let's say run. Okay, done. I got the list of all the people who belongs to 10, 20, 30, 40 department, and what I can see is in the employee table we do not have a employee with department number 40, and that's the reason its result is not visible, right? Okay, let's move to the next. Okay, however, if your subquery returns you only one row, you can use equal operator. For example, if I go back and if I say let me copy this code. Okay, I'll say copy and I'll paste it here, and let me write a query. Select department number from department. Let me run this code first, and I see that I got 10, 20, 30, 40. Now let me put a condition. Okay, so before I even put a condition, let me check this. Let me put a condition like this, where loc is equal to New York. Now look into this condition. I said select department number from department table where location is just New York. In this case, what I got is I got 10. Right? I got only one record. Right? So let me run this code. See, I got only one record. Now I just want to check what will happen if I write a code here. What will happen if I replace that code here? Make sure that you don't use semicolon in your inner query, right? So I know that this is going to give me 10, only 10. Will this code even work? Let's see. So I know that this query would return me 10, and now my query becomes select star from employee where department number in 10, and it worked. Okay, now I want to check with equal operator. I know that this is going to return me just 10. So will my equal operator work or not here? Let's see that as well. Okay, this also works, which means if your inner query, right, if your inner query gives you only one result, then you can use equal operator. Okay, let me try to do the same thing here. If I say select star from employee where department number equal to, now when you say equal to, you are looking for exact match, but what you are getting here is you are getting multiple record, right? You will get multiple department number, so this query would fail. It says subquery returns more than one row, and that's the reason it failed. Okay, let me try doing like, let's say limit 10, limit 1. When you say limit 1, that means give me only one record. The meaning of that is this. Okay, let me give this a try. So let me say run. Okay, I got 10. Now will this work? Because I have limited it to 10 now. Now it works, right? So you need to be very clear when in will work, when equal to will work, right? Equal to will work when you get only one record, right? So let me just replace the query from here to, let me replace this query. Okay, so I'll say paste and this is our query, and we'll say, right? So this would work. Now, as I said, this will also work for you because you're limiting it to 10. Sorry, you're limiting it to 1. Okay. Now, this equal operator with subquery might not work in other database. Okay, you have to check it out. It works in MySQL, it might not work in Oracle. In Oracle, it may say your nested query, whatever you write, even if you are saying limit 1, or even if you know that it returns you only one record, you must put in. That is also possible. Okay, so whatever experiment we are doing, whatever we are learning is completely with respect to MySQL. Right? Let's move to the next. Okay. Now in this example, whatever we have done, I'm assuming that this will give you only one record. Okay. So let me say then you use equal. So I will also like to put here assuming you have only one New York location. Okay. And I'll also write one more thing here. The above query would fail if there are multiple department at New York. Clear now? Okay, so I'm assuming that I have only one office at New York, and hence this query would work accordingly. Okay. Now, as I said, if you have multiple department at New York, this query would fail. Okay, let's move on. Select all employees where department number is not 10 and 20. Okay, my query could be give me the list of all the employees who do not belong to 10 and 20 department number. Now you can use not in. Okay, so let's check this out. So what you are trying to check is you're trying to say select star from employee where department. First, let's run select star from employee. Let's see what the output, and then we'll write our where condition. Right now, I want to say where department number. If you say I want to get the list of people from 10 and 20, then your query would be this, right? This will give you the list of all the employees who belong to 10 and 20 department. And if you say I don't want to get them, I want to get other department instead, right? Then you'll say not in. Not in. Okay. So when you say not in 10 and 20, then you get only those people who belong to department number 30 or 40. Right? So this would be your query. Okay. Select all employees where department number is not 10 and 20. Right? So it will be like not in command. Okay. Now you need to be very, very careful while dealing with nulls. Null does not work with in and not in. What do you mean by that? Let's see this. Select all the employee who does not have manager. So let's see this. Let's say select star from employee. Let's see how many of them do not have a manager. Check this out and let me know who does not have a manager. See this. These are the employee name. These are the job of the employee, and these are the manager list. Who is managing whom? Right? Now look into this. Smith, whose ID is 7369, is managed by 7902. Who is 7902? Check it out here. 79024. Okay, and he is managed by 7566. Who is 7566? He is managed by Jones. Okay, now again John is managed by 7839. Who is 7839? 7839 is king, and this king is the president of the company, which means he is the godfather of the company. He is not managed by anybody. He manages everybody, right? So now my query is I want to get this guy. I want to get this president. How do I identify it? Probably by designation or maybe by manager. right? And let's say there are few people who are not managed by anybody. Let's say four people have formed a company, and they all have different I would say job responsibility, but all of them do not have a manager because they are not managed by anybody. So in that case, the manager column would be what null, right? So what you need to check it out is you need to figure it out, get the list of all the employees whose manager is null, right? Now let me write a query like this. I say select star from employee where manager mgr, okay, manager in null. Let me write something like this. Okay, I know my query is bad, but let me try to see. Now, if you look into this example, probably I'm trying to get the precedent, right? See here, the query looks very, like it looks very innocent, right? Select start from employee where manager in null. Probably I'm targeting this, okay, with some wrong command, of course. Let's see what the output of this. The output is it does not give you the output because this in would not work here. Okay, let me try not in null. This also did not work, which means in and not in does not work with null. Okay, of course, in this case, your query itself is wrong. Okay, but see, you are supposed to say where manager is not null, right? So you should have said where manager is not null. This is what you are actually looking for. Okay, or your manager is null. This is what actually you're looking for. But I'm trying to explain you what will happen if you write that along with your not in. Okay, if you write this along with your not in, then you will be in trouble. Right? I'll show you more trouble cases. So null does not work with in and not in. Right? So we were trying to do something like this. Not in null does not work. In null also does not work. Okay, do this instead. So probably you are targeting this. Select star from employee where manager is not null, or select star from employee where manager is null. Right? This will give you precedent. This will give you precedent. Okay, this will give you all employees, I would say. Okay, because all of them are managed by somebody by the president. Okay, next, null does not work where when you use with other values too. Okay, so check it out. Let me try something like this. Say start from employee where department number not in 10, 20 and null. So let me not write null. What are you expecting? 30. See here, we are expecting all the employee who do not belong to 10, 20 department number, which means 30, right? What if I just write null here? What's wrong? You don't get anything now, right? So your null can be dangerous sometimes, right? And I've shown you practically that null can sometimes give you a wrong output. Okay, so let me also try with in 10 and 20. I got 10 and 20 null, right? So let's run this as well. See here, in this case it worked. Okay, so then we'll go back here and check it out. Null does not work when you use with other value in case of not in. Little confusing. Not in, it does not work, right? And when you are doing it with multiple values, right? And when you're using it with in, it works. This works, right? So let me copy this. I think I did not copy it here. So I would say the below code would work as we are using it with. Okay, so based on the requirement, right? So see here, not in and in, it did not work when you were just using only null, only null. When you use with other value, then not in does not work, but with in it works, right? And you are actually expecting this, right? When you say when the department number is either 10 or 20 or null, give me all the records, and it has given you all the list of the employees whose department number is either 10 or 20 or null, right? In our case, there is nothing null, and we did not get that value. So let me go back. Let me go to this department number, and let me make something as null. Let's see what happens now. I'll say, I'll say save. I'll say save. I got one department number as null. Okay, and let me try this. That's Smith. Just a minute. It did not fetch that value. It did not fetch that value. It actually gives. It has actually given you all the records, right? But like, it does not happen that it disappeared the record. It is not getting the record for you, but it actually gives you the rest of the record. Okay, so let me also update that here as you're getting within, and I'll also put one more stuff here. I'll just put here note: if you have any employee whose department number is null, it does not fetch you that record, but it does not impact other values. Are you getting my point? Little tricky, right? See here, when you say 10, 20, I guess it is not troubling you here. Oh, of course, it is not giving you this value here, right? It's not giving you the value here. When I say this would work, that means it will give you the records. Okay, this the below would work as we the below would work. I would say uh, would fetch not null values. Okay, and as I said, it does not fetch you that record which has a null value. Are you getting my point? Yes, no? So we have seen how this not null behaves with null. Like we have seen how this null behaves with is not and is, right? Let me explain you with is again. Okay, so check this out. Null works with in, but does not fetch null record. It at least fetches other records. So to understand that, what you need to do is modify your employee table and update any record with department number as null. Okay, let's go back. So just a select star from employee. See here, I've got a department number as null. Now I want to write a query like this. Select star from employee where department number in either 10 or 20 or null. So what I'm expecting is, I'm expecting all the records where the department numbers are 10. I'm expecting all the records where the department numbers are 20. Right? As well as I'm expecting all the records where the department number is null. Right? So at least I'm expecting the Smith also to come, to appear, right? But when you run this code, if you see your Smith is not coming up here. Then the value for which this department number was null did not come, but at least it is not disturbing the other values. The other values are coming properly. Okay, but in case of your not in, nothing was coming up. Nothing was coming up. Right? Why? Because your query becomes like this. Okay, so if you actually want to get this, if you want to get the value for null also, then you'll have to write a code like this. You have to expand it to get those not null also. For example, I said say start from employee where department number is not 10 and department number is not 20 and department number is not null. This would give you the output. This would give you the output what you are expecting. Okay, and when we talk about within, as I said, this null does not at least impact the other value. It will give you 10 and 20. So if you want to learn it, like if you want to understand it in a short way, then you can say whenever you write a code like this, okay, your null gets nullified, which means if you write it like this, then you'll actually, it's equivalent to not even writing your null, because both of this would give you the same output, right? So here I got these records, I got these records. So the records are same. The total 7 records you have received, which means you're not getting this null, right? Now let me try something like this. What if I say select star from employee where department number in is what my query is 10, or department number is 20, or department number, okay, department number is null. Actually, I'm expecting 8 record. One more record I'm actually expecting. Okay. So let me write a query like this. So if you see, I got 8 records here, which means I also got this guy, right? Which is what you are actually trying to get from here. Okay. So this query that fetches you 10 and 20 only, but it does not honor your null, right? But at least it is giving you the output. That's what I'm saying. When I say null works with in, that means it's actually giving you at least the other values. Okay, so let me put here, and I'll say we've already copied this, and null works with in but does not fetch null records. Now I'll say it is equivalent equivalent to not including null. Okay, which means you write this or you write this, the output is same. Okay, both above and below query will produce same output. Okay, now I would say if you wish to fetch the employee who belong to 10 or 20 or have null in the department number, use this query. Okay, so this is what you are supposed to write. This query would give you what exactly you are looking for. Now, so we have discussed a little bit about null, right? So now we need to understand what exactly is this null, right? So null is basically, you can say, a constant which actually defines the absence of value, right? It means we don't know the value. Okay, the value is unknown. That is not zero. That is not empty string. It is used when a column does not have a value assigned. When you don't know what would be the value for this particular column, you can just set it to null, right? And as I said, null is not same as empty string. Your empty string and null are both different. They are not zero. Okay, so it is a distinct value, it is a unique value, it is a constant value that indicates no data. Okay, now any expression with null will result in null. Whatever you wish to do, if you add null to it, it will become null. For example, if I say select 10 plus null, you can write a query like this also. Okay, so let's go back and I'll just say select 10 plus null. You don't have to write from employee table because you don't have employee table right now, right? So if you want to just evaluate some expression, you can do this as well. So see here, 10 plus null will always be null, right? Any value, any value, any value with null, any operations that you do on null will always give you a null. Okay, let's see one very important use case of this. Now my query is this. I want to get this data. Let's see this. Let's see this query. This is very interesting. Get the name, get the salary, get the commission, get salary plus commission of all the employees. So let's see the employee table. select star from employee. Okay, select star from employee. Now if you see, I've got name, I've got salary, and I've got commission, which means this particular people, they get this as a fixed salary, and there is always a commission of 300, 500, or whatever, okay, to these guys. Now if I say what is the salary of this guy, Alan, right? How much money Alan makes every month, guys? Don't you think that's 1600 plus 300, which is 1900? Yes, the take home of Alan is always 1900 because he always gets 300 rupees as a commission. Is not it? So what would be the query for this, right? So let's try this out. So I'll say select. I want to get the name. So first let me say from employee, okay, and then this column name would also come, e name. So I want to get the name. I want to get the salary. So that means SAL salary. Okay. I also want to see the commission of that guy. Commission, COMM commission. Okay. And now I want to get the total salary, which is salary plus commission. So I would say salary plus commission. And if you wish to rename that as a separate column with some other name as total salary. Salary from employee. Right? This is what you wish to do. Is not it? You want to display name, salary, commission, and you wish to add the salary and commission column, salary and commission column, and you wish to show them as a total salary from employee table. That's one. Now you see, interestingly what happened. See here, if you have the data in both the case, 16 plus 3, I got 1900, very good. 1250 plus 500, I got 1750. These two, I got this. 1500 plus 0, I got 1500. But what about the rest? Right? All the other folks are so null, which is actually wrong, fundamentally wrong, right? Because you're not getting any commission, you got null, okay. But when you are doing salary plus commission, null plus that value will always give you null, right? If we stick to the basic, this is what has happened. Any value, right, with null, right? Any operation that you do with null will give you a null, and that's what is the problem here, which we need to figure it out, right? So this is one of the common problem that you'll see when you're working with SQL. You want to do some operations, there are some null values, and null plus any column would always give you null, and that would impact your result, right? So what you should do is you can use some technique, okay, which I am going to show you now. Okay, so first see the documentation. So you got the output like this, right? Please note, we got total salary as null for so many employees just because they don't get any commission, which indeed is wrong. Okay, now to overcome this problem, there is a function called if null and if. Okay, and they are equivalent to NVL. So in Oracle, there is a command called NVL, very popular command, that is basically used to handle null values. Okay, so instead of NVL command, we have if null in MySQL. Okay, so the if null function always returns you, always allows you to substitute a value when a null is encountered. It takes two arguments. The first argument, if the first argument is null, it returns the second argument, otherwise it returns you the first argument. Let's understand that, okay? I'll like to do it this way. So if you want to get rid of this problem, then you need to use a function called if null. Okay, now see here, earlier we did 10 plus null, and that gave me null. That gave me null. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to say select if null, and this is my first expression. If this expression is null, then I'm saying give me 0. So here I'll get 0. See here, I got 0 here. Okay, now the second select query you see, if null. Is this null? No, then return me this 10 only. Okay, so let me run this. I got 10 here. Okay, so if you see this example, in the first example I will get 0, 0, return second argument as first is null. And look into this second select 10 and 20, it returns 10, it returns your first argument as it is not null, which means if null function takes two parameter, okay, if the first parameter is evaluating to null, then it will return you second parameter. If the first parameter is not null, it will return you the first parameter itself. Okay, let us try to realize that with this now, and I know that this is my problem. Okay, now I would like to write this code again by using this if null function. Okay, so let's say this. You'll say select ename salary commission. Okay, salary plus commission as total salary from employee. Let's write this query first as it is. Then now I would like to apply this if null. Okay, so I would say here, I would say, see here, I can say if null, see, I'm writing if null here, and I know that if null, in if null you have to pass two parameters, right? So the first parameter is this, salary plus commission, salary plus commission. Now if salary plus commission, if I'm getting here null, what should I return, guys? Do you agree with me that if this condition returns me null here, total salary, if I'm getting null, all nulls here, now don't you think I should at least return salary, not zero, salary? See, if the total, if I do this total, and if I'm receiving null, why should I return null? Right? At least I should give him the salary what he is actually getting. Right? At least salary should be written. So my condition should be like this. So I'm saying add these two people, add these two columns. If this expression gives me null, then at least return salary. Okay, so let's run this code. Now see here, my problem is solved. Right? I got 800. The commission was not there. So if the commission is not there, at least I'm returning back my salary. So which means the total salary is not at all lost. Now look into those examples. If I add sell plus commission and if it is not giving me null. So for example, take the second row, 1600 plus 300 is 1900. This is not giving me null. So in that case, it will return me this 1900 itself. Clear? So if null is a function that returns you first part if it is not null, it returns you second part if the first part is null. Okay, now if you want, I can rewrite this query again. So let me rewrite this query again. I would copy this, paste it here. Now I'll write this query again like this. Ename salary commission. Now salary plus. Okay, now I would say if null, see here, now I'm saying I pass my commission. If I get a commission as null, then return 0. Return 0. And if you do this condition, if the commission is null, for all those null, it will return me 0, and the salary plus 0 would actually give me salary. Okay, so this is how you should write. Okay, so I hope you understood why I wrote 0 here and why I wrote salary here. Right? In this case, I'm actually evaluating only commission, and I'm saying if my commission is null, then don't return null, because null plus salary would give me null, return me 0. This will also give me the same output. Okay, the question, if we don't know which column is null, then what you can do is you can write a query like this. select, let's say you're executing some operations on null values, right? So let's say commission, right? Select commission from EMP where commission is null. Write a query like this. You have to definitely go and inspect your column on which you are doing operations. If you don't know which column is giving you null, you have to go and inspect the column before you write a query, right? You need to see the data, right? Without seeing the data, you should not even write any code. See the data, by looking at the data, you can understand what will come and what will not come. At least your code, whenever you write a SQL query, your SQL query should be written by looking into the data, whatever is available. What will come in future, we don't know. Okay, but if in future if some null will come, then your report would go wrong. You'll again have to fix it. Okay, now let's talk about if function as well. Okay, now if function is very similar to NVL2 in Oracle. Okay, I'll talk about Oracle equivalent whenever I feel it is so important. Okay, so if function is very similar to NVL2 in Oracle, which takes three parameters. NVL takes two parameter, NVL2 takes three parameter. Okay, likewise your if also takes three parameters, right? So earlier we talked about if null, that takes two parameter, but if takes three parameter. This is similar to NVL2 in Oracle, which takes three parameter. Now check it out what it is. If the condition is true, that is the expression is not null, it returns you second argument. If the condition is false, the expression is null, then it returns you third argument. Okay, which means check this example. Check this example and you'll understand it better. Now we are trying to learn this if condition. So if function. Earlier we talked about if null function. Now we are talking about if function. Okay. So let's run this. So I got here 10, which means if I get null here, if I have a value, I have some expression, if that is giving me null, then I will return the first parameter. Sorry, if I have a null value here, then I'll return the second parameter. Okay, and let me run this. Now if I have first parameter which is not null, then I'll return you second parameter. If null, return third parameter. If not null, return second parameter. Okay, see here, I have null, so it will return me this parameter. I have not null, then it returns me this parameter. It does not return you 10 anymore. That's the difference between if and if null, right? If null returns you this value, if it is not null. If null returns you this value, if it is the first parameter is null. But if you check this if, then it says if my first parameter is null, okay, then I'll return last. If my first parameter is not null, then only I'll return the second parameter. That's how it works. Okay. So let us try to rewrite the same query. Let us try to rewrite the same query again. Okay. So I would like to replace these two with if condition. These two with if condition. Okay. So let me first remove this. Let me first and let me also remove this. Right, and we'll go to the original state first. So let me run this query. Okay, and we are again in the same problem. Now I want to replace this word with what? If condition, right? Sorry, if function. So if function takes three parameter, right? Now look into this example. Salary plus commission. If I get null, If I get null, then it is going to return me what? Third parameter. Okay. So this is the first parameter. Here I'll have second parameter and here I'll have third parameter. What should I return, guys, if salary plus commission is null? I want you to answer me. What should I return if salary plus commission, both this addition becomes null? Then salary. Okay. Okay. What should I return if these are not null? Salary plus commission, of course. Of course, right? So you should write a code like this, right? Let's see whether it works or not. All right, we got the output, right? So let's go back to our code. So let's see this. The query is same, right? Here we have written is not null. We have written an expression, but it's not important. You can just directly write it like this also, or you can write it that way also. Okay, it's completely your choice. So I'll just say copy, and let me put it here. Right? So whether you write it like this or whether you write it this way, it would be same. See, because as I said, if when you see it's a function and I said if the condition is true or false, so you are actually passing a true or false condition. Okay, or else if the expression is coming not null. Okay, let's try with this. We did it this way. Now I want to avoid this salary. I want to keep this outside and I would like to apply if only on this. Okay, now I'll say if it takes two parameter, parameter 1 here, parameter 2 here. Okay, now tell me here, if my commission is null, what should I if my commission, see, check this code again. Okay, if I get here null, I am returning third parameter, right? So if this is null, what should I return? If my commission is null, what should I write here? 0. Okay, if my commission is not null, then it calls the second parameter. What should I pass here? Commission. Okay, so let's say commission. Right? So when you do this, let's try to run this code. This also gives you the same output, right? Which means this also works. Okay, now let's do one thing as well. So we will try this out. Let's update commission column for all the employees who are not getting any commission. Okay, let us give Durga Puja is nearby, right? So the festival is nearby. Let's give a commission of 1005 to all the employees for a month. Okay, next month we will remove it up, but now let's give some commission to everyone. Okay, now see how we'll do something like this. Update the table employee, set commission is equal to, okay, now there is a condition here. I would like to show you in two ways. Okay, so if commission is not null, see, if the commission is not null, now again check this. If my condition is this, if the condition is not null, if the commission is not null, here, that means this guy is already getting a commission. I'll not give him any commission now. Okay, I would like to give a commission to only those people who were never getting any commission, right? So I'm saying if the commission is not null, okay, then it should go and call evaluate this value should be written. So for them I'm saying let him get commission plus 0, or you could say only commission. Choice is yours. If the guy is always getting a commission, then let me return the same commission to him. Okay, and I'm saying if the commission is not null, what if it is null? If it is null, then this parameter, so I'm trying to give a commission of 1005 to them. Okay, so let's run. Done. Okay, once you're done, go back to your employee table, and if you see, you have got, you have added some commission to all the people, right? So now let me say update employee set commission equal to null, where commission is equal to 1005. I gave a commission of 1005 so that I can, later revert it back. So let me revert it back. Okay, so let me say select start from employee again. All right, now let's try with other approach. I would say update employee set commission if. Okay, so now if I get here null, I know that this parameter would be executed. If I get here null, then this parameter would be executed. That is 1005. And if I don't get this as null, then second parameter would be executed, which means this also looks perfect. So let's run this code. Say okay. Then okay. Now it is saying it has updated all the rules. So let's go back and say select start from employee table again. Okay. So if you see, some people have got 1005 as a commission who are never getting any commission. Right? So let me copy this column as well. Questions?